I'm five-time World Kickboxing Champion Anthony Elmore, who is also Memphis' first independent 35mm theatrical filmmaker. Today, we bring you another exciting lecture. My lecture today is called Barron Deaderick Used White Supremacy to Falsely Connect Orange Mound to Plantation Truth Revealed. Did you know that Orange Mound and its history as told today is connected to the sons of Confederate veterans? Let's look at this video and learn the truth. I want you to meet white racist historian John Barron Deaderick. He used a racist plan to connect our historic black community of Orange Mound to his family's John George Deaderick plantation. Let's meet Barron Deaderick. He served as the assistant historian-in-chief for the Sons of Confederate Veterans. He wrote in 1949 the story how Orange Mound got its name from a sage orange tree hedgerow on the Deaderick slave plantation owned by his grandfather. He wrote the book, Forrest, Wizard of the Saddle, honoring Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, Nathan Bedford Forrest, the Grand Wizard. When you read anything about early history of Orange Mound, please note that Barron Deaderick devised a plan to make black association to the John Deaderick plantation. Many people are going to be upset with me about the things I'm saying. Number one, Memphis needs a black Memphis History Museum, and we need to learn black Memphis history and learn about our history and tell our own stories. Many people will get upset about that. You see, in 1968, when Dr. Martin Luther King came to Memphis, people were really upset with Dr. Martin Luther King. The people would say, why is he coming in here causing all of this trouble? Because many black people consider Dr. King a troublemaker. Now, let's come to Anthony Elmore. Anthony Elmore asks questions. Now, people are upset because you are challenging the authority of white people. You see, right now, at this time in our history in America, they are erasing black history. They changing names of buildings. They getting rid of DEI. They are changing things because they don't want you to know your history, and people are upset. I really believe that Memphis Mayor Paul Young and Shelby County Mayor Lee Harris would be upset because we are questioning the authority of Orange Mound. You see, ladies and gentlemen, the name Orange Mound did not come from an Osage hedge tree. You see, the Tennessee Historical Society and the historians, they wrote a history to marginalize the efforts of black people, and they don't want you to think logically. Let's begin to think logically. You see, in 1865, the Civil War ended. There was no more John Deaderick plantation after the Civil War. However, in 1871, and you can look this up, William and Michael Deaderick, the son of John George Deaderick, they had the idea of creating a high-class suburban community for white people. They created a community called Melrose Station in 1871. Well, what happened was, in the 1870s, thousands in Memphis died from the yellow fever. And it was in 1878
when panic set in and 25,000 people fled Memphis in a panic. Those so-called tough and strong Confederate soldiers and the white people ran, they had guns and forced themselves on ships to get out because they feared. In fact, so many white people left that there were 14,000 black people left and 6,000 whites. Now, it was Robert R. Church who purchased a police wagon, and it was those black soldiers, the black militias, who upheld and protected Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis lost its charter in 1879 and became a taxing district. If you want to know black history, it was black people who saved Memphis during the Yellow Fever. It was black soldiers who were the policemen. It was the black militias who protected Memphis, Tennessee. The Yellow Fever allowed Robert R. Church to purchase a lot of property in the 1880s. The Yellow Fever allowed black people to achieve positions of equality in Memphis.
We named the birth of Orange Mound in 1879 because two churches in Orange Mound traced their roots to 1879, where it exists today. They purchased the land of Mount Moriah Baptist Church, I think right on Carnes, I think that's Carnes and David. They bought the land where they at right now. What you must understand, ladies and gentlemen, that the majority population in Shelby County in the early 1880s were black people. We ran Shelby County, we ran Memphis until the whites came back. You must understand that black people were able to name themselves. They were able to name their own community. In fact, in 1883, Mount Moriah Baptist Church purchased the land where the church sits at to this very day. Now, this is 7 years before anybody ever heard of the name Orange Mound. Now, in 1887, a group of black people in Mississippi, they used the word mound. They established a community called Mound Bayou. Community he called Orange Mound that he purchased in December of 1879. When he purchased this in 1889 rather, when he purchased the land where he started Orange Mound, this is what you must understand. The people in the community already had a name. They had already named themselves. Now we come to 1889 when Matty Deaderick sold land to Eugene Meacham. You see, Eugene Meacham named the community Orange Mound after the name that the people had already named themselves. Now, this is what happened, and I want you to be very clear and understand this. Many of you may not believe this, but white people resented black people making decisions for themselves. And see, the name Orange Mound did not come from a grove of hedgerow trees as stated by Barron Deaderick. See, the people already had a name, and Eugene Meacham just simply called the name Orange Mound because the people in Orange Mound, or the people in the community, had given themselves a name called Orange Mound. It was in 1949 where John Barron Deaderick wrote a paper, and he says the name Orange Mound came from a row of sage hedgerow trees. On November 23rd, esteemed anthropologist Dr. Charles Williams, who wrote the book African American Life and Culture in Orange Mound, Case Study of a Black Community in Memphis, 1890 to 1980,
Dr. Williams spoke at the new Orange Mound Library. I even produced an almost 1-hour video of his lecture. You can view this lecture on YouTube. Dr. Williams in his book and in his lecture, he gave great details where the name Orange Mound comes from. Evidence proof seems to me that Dr. Williams, as well as all stories that I read about the name of Orange Mound, comes from the 1949 template by Sons of Confederate veteran historian Barron Deaderick. The name and history of Orange Mound should not be connected to the John Deaderick plantation. This advertisement is a powerful piece of evidence that challenges the prevailing narrative about Orange Mound. The fact that Montgomery Park Place subdivision was marketed as a high-class community for black residents with bank financing, broad streets, sidewalks, and large lots contradicts the common portrayal of Orange Mound as merely an extension of the Deaderick plantation. What is unknown and untold is that the Bank of Commerce and Trust Company played a significant role in financing an entire subdivision, what we know today as Orange Mound. Not just an individual lot suggests a deliberate effort to establish a thriving, well-planned black community. Yet, historical accounts overwhelmingly focus on E.E. Mitchum's development, reinforcing the Plantation Association while erasing the upscale vision that was actually realized. You see, this omission raises critical questions. Who shaped the dominant narrative? Why was the role of the Bank of Commerce and Trust Company ignored? The fact that Orange Mound's true origins as a first-class subdivision for black residents has been obscured suggests a systematic effort to diminish black agency and achievement in urban development. Clearly, Orange Mound was developed as a modern, high-class subdivision for colored people. What is told is that E.E. Mitchum is credited. Again, we can go back to Memphis in 1889, just 5 miles away. While this was a tragic ending, blacks established a co-op grocery. We can go back to Memphis in 1889, whereas just 5 miles away, while there was a tragic ending, blacks established a co-op grocery. What we call Orange Mound today was once Montgomery Park Place, a place with bank financing and an upscale subdivision that's untold today.
In 1890, blacks were the majority population in Shelby County, and they named themselves Orange Mound. When Eugene Mitchum came to Orange Mound, what he did was he took the name that blacks had and he called it Orange Mound. Now, where we at right now is this. What they did is that they want to take away black achievement. So what they did was the white people got together and they rewrote the history and they connected you to a slave plantation.
I want to take you to August 20th, 2021. Mary Mitchell and the Orange Mound Art Council and others, while perhaps intended to honor our ancestors, they perpetuated the false narrative of Barron Deaderick. They installed a tombstone on our ancestors at the Deaderick Cemetery. See, while honoring our ancestors is a noble act, this particular action gives credibility to the association of Orange Mound with the Deaderick plantation. You see, connecting Orange Mound, a historic African American community, to a slave plantation is shameful. It's tantamount to installing a Confederate monument in the heart of the community. You see, slavery ended in 1865. There should never be any black people honoring a plantation or associating themselves with the plantation. The best way to honor our ancestors on the Deaderick Plantation is to build a Black Memphis History Museum and place their monument in a beautiful garden. I'm not just making a video, I'm starting a movement. I have filed a lawsuit challenging the city of Memphis, the Tennessee Historical Society, and various organizations because it's time to reclaim our narrative. We as African Americans must finally disassociate ourselves from the Deaderick Plantation. We must put the Deaderick Cemetery with the Deadericks. First and foremost, let's get rid of the Deaderick name in Orange Mound. Melrose School is located at 2780 Deaderick Avenue in Memphis. Melrose is the only school in the world who can claim they had 3 gold medal winners who attended Melrose at the same time. We should change Deaderick Avenue to Black Gold Medal Winners Avenue. That's empowerment, and that is how we should empower ourselves. You see, the Deaderick Plantation should no longer be a part of our historical records. Let's get rid of the idea of Barron Deaderick.
Let me conclude this. I want you to understand something about why is it that Orange Mound is associated to the slave plantation but not the other places. If you would look at Orange Mound and you cross the railroad tracks, when you cross the railroad tracks, you come to what was then Montgomery Park, that eventually became the fairgrounds, that eventually became Liberty Land, that is now Liberty Pocket Park. You see, Liberty Road Memorial Stadium and all the fairgrounds, all that area was part of the John Deaderick Plantation. But if you cross over just the Central Avenue right there, you got Christian Brothers College. They don't call Christian Brothers College the former John Deaderick Plantation. They do not call Liberty Land the former John Deaderick Plantation. But if you would go east on Central, you would come down to the Pink Palace Museum. They don't call the Pink Palace Museum, which was part of the John Deaderick Plantation. They don't call it part of the John Deaderick Plantation. But if you come back south just a little bit, you're gonna come to Memphis Country Club. They don't call it part of the former John Deaderick Plantation. But nor do they call Chickasaw Gardens, the affluent white community, part of the John Deaderick Plantation. But what they did was, white people got together and they took the 1949 story that Barron Deaderick, who was the historian for the Sons of Confederate Veterans. They don't want you to tell a story. They don't want you to have a history, but Anthony Elmore have the courage to do it. Anyway, I am Anthony Elmore, Memphis' first independent theatrical filmmaker and the first person to chronicle Black Memphis history via film. Watch our website. It's called blackmemphishistory.com. Thank you very much.